Hey, what's going on, people? Thank you for tuning in to Trends on Tap. This is Brandon Gredler with T3 Labs. First of all, Happy New Year. And if it's Happy New Year, then that means that we are naturally talking about CES, which is, according to them, the world's largest and most influential consumer electronics show. Happens annually every year, Las Vegas again, where vendors from all over the world, innovators, companies, startups, funders, everybody comes out to over 3 million square feet in Las Vegas and essentially shows what they've been working on since last year, where they think the future is going, and things like this. CES is a love-hate relationship because the spectrum from the things that are shown essentially go from stunts, just to get a PR headline, all the way through to things that are definitely going to happen. So we're going to take a quick look at some of the things that we thought were some of our favorites that hit each one of those points along the spectrum. So first up, PR stunts. Sony unveiled a car. Never going to happen, right? It's not intended to happen. The headline was Sony unveils a concept car, but really what they're trying to do is compete with display manufacturers to get inside of the cars of people who actually make cars for a living. Pretty cool. Another one was from Charmin. This was a pretty funny one. So they took their bear and essentially smells the air in a bathroom to let you know whether or not it's safe to enter. Will that ever hit the market? I hope not, but it might. It worked. All the way through the spectrum of like point-in-time solutions. Next up is Moen with their smart faucet. I believe it's an Alexa-powered faucet. At first, a couple years ago, they had one that didn't really make sense, but this year's iteration was pretty cool in that you can ask it to not only turn on, but turn on to fill up a certain amount or a certain volume of liquid at a certain temperature, which I think is pretty smart. Probably not the end of the evolution of that product, but it was a nice leap forward. Which brings me to one of my favorite things that I think is definitely going to happen, which is from an Israeli startup called Orcam. And what that does is it helps people that suffer from what's called the cocktail effect, essentially people that are hard of hearing. When there's a lot of noise going on, they cannot diffuse who they're talking to from the people around them. This Israeli startup, it's a peripheral camera that doesn't stream any data, doesn't store any data, but essentially allows the hearing aids that are connected to know who you are looking at and who you intend to listen to, and allows you to focus the audio to that person. I think that's definitely going to happen. I think that is a huge thing for the hearing impaired. Very cool stuff. Another point on the spectrum is things that people think are going to happen but probably are not. And I don't know where this next one falls, but you would be remiss if you didn't talk about Quibi at CES. So Quibi is short for QuickBytes. It's a startup, as you most likely know, with Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. Raised $1 billion, has just recently announced that an additional $400 million was raised. So $1.4 billion startup raised around a new streaming platform. What is unique about it is that because it's called QuickBytes, what they're doing is Hollywood-level studio productions with Steven Spielberg is on board, 50 Cent, J-Lo, Guillermo del Toro's on board. And what they're doing is 2-hour feature-length movies broken into serialized 10-minute chunks that you watch sequentially. Once you go through the entire 2 hours, you can then unlock it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think that the trend is there. I think it's really interesting. I think everybody wants it to happen that's not the user. Meaning, the studios want it to happen. The directors, we can talk about that in a different episode. Advertisers definitely want it to happen in more of a sterile, controlled environment outside of Twitch and YouTube and Instagram, things like this. It's pretty interesting. Keep our eye on that. I don't know if it's definitely going to happen, but the idea is great. Now, somewhere along that spectrum, from PR stunt to definitely going to happen, there's a category of that people think that are not going to happen, but I am particularly interested in. And that's where Samsung comes in. Samsung was all over CES, but one in particular stuck out, which is Sero, S-E-R-O. And it is their television that goes from landscape to portrait based off of your control on your app. A lot of people think it's a gimmick. A lot of people think that it's satisfying the part where it's a PR stunt, grabs headlines, and won't really happen. Here's why I think they're wrong. It reminds me of when people said, who really wants a phone in their pocket all day? Who really is going to just want to watch people post pictures of themselves? They're not even professional photographers. It reminds me of when people would say, who wants to walk around holding a phone 8 inches from your face just to watch video all day? All of those people were wrong, and I believe that Samsung Sero is the answer to that. What it does is it continues the pendulum swing towards the creators, towards those with already an audience. And I can very easily see a future in which you do not log into YouTube, you actually log into Instagram, IGTV, and maybe even Quibi in the future. We'll find out. Thanks for tuning in. This is Brandon Gredler. Talk to you next time.